Hi, I'm Dusty with Magnum Bikes, and I'm going to show you how to build our new 24-inch fat-tired 750-watt e-bike, the Bliss. Your Bliss will arrive with straps around the box and staples, so first things first, we're just going to cut open the box, find a friend to help you lift it out, or cut it out of the box. Then you'll remove all the packaging, and we'll get to the nitty-gritty of assembly. Okay, the reveal. As you're unpacking and cutting zip ties, be particularly careful on the Bliss and Wave models. They have an integrated display in the stem here. It has a zip tie covering it. Just be careful not to scratch or damage your beautiful integrated display. For assembly of the Bliss bike, you'll need a set of 6, 5, 4, and 2.5 millimeter Allen or hexagonal wrenches, a 15 millimeter combination wrench, a 10 millimeter combination wrench, a pair of dikes or cutters, and a screwdriver. The first thing we'll do is mount the handlebar and the front headlight. Check to make sure that your bike came with all the accessories and parts needed. You should have a front fender with a fender stay connected, a front wheel, and inside your accessories box, a derailleur protector, a stem cap to hide the wiring up here at the stem, a set of pedals left and right, your headlight with the mount already on it, and an M-tag or AirTag compatible bell. First thing, we're going to grab our headlight with the mount. The headlight on the Bliss and on our Wave model mounts to the bottom 2 bolts of the stem underneath the handlebar. With a 4 millimeter Allen wrench, we're just going to loosen the faceplate on the stem, removing all these bolts. Once you have your stem faceplate loosened, remove it, and you'll note the top 2 holes are wider apart than the bottom 2 holes, so you have to keep them accordingly. Rotate your handlebar up, being sure not to crimp any of the electrical in there. And then we're just going to install the top 2 bolts loosely. The headlight mount slides in between the stem faceplate and stem, and then you'll install your bolt, threading it through the headlight mount and into the stem. Once your bottom 2 bolts are threaded, loosen the top 2 bolts just a little bit. The important thing here is to tension the bottom 2 bolts first, so the light mount won't move. Then you'll return to the top and tension the top 2 bolts. The stem says no gap with an arrow, but that pertains to the assembly without a headlight mount. So ignore that for now. Only when the bottom 2 stem faceplate bolts are tight and your handlebar is centered and where you want it, will you tighten the top bolts. At this point, we're going to adjust the stem up a little bit to make way for your cable protector. So you'll need a 5 millimeter Allen to loosen the stem here at the pivot, and a 2.5 millimeter Allen to install the cable cap. The cable cap comes with a little bolt, and you'll see it has a ridge in the middle to divide your cables, and the 2.5 millimeter Allen bolts into the stem right here. Careful not to pinch the cables with the divider. We're just going to split the cables in 2 and tighten this plate down. You'll notice this plate has a torque setting on it of 2 Newton meters. That's not very much. This stem plate is polycarbonate, and so you really are just going to go moderately snug. Once your stem plate is installed, we can plug in our various electrical components that came unplugged. You have a display connector, which is the 2 black oblong ones. You have your controls for your display, which is the green, and you have your brake cutoffs. They are all keyed and only plug in a certain way. So we're going to go red to red, making sure that the plastic channel and the 2 pins line up. You can also see the name of the cable company, Mutual, lining up, as well as 2 arrows, one black, one white. This step is important to take your time and not bend any pins or ruin an electrical connection. The one black 2-pin connection that is left is your brake cutoff. The right-hand brake cutoff comes pre-plugged in, the left is not. You'll take note that it only fits in one way and has arrows on it as well. And it plugs right next to the brake hose here on your Tektro brake set. Once we have our cabling all plugged in, I'm going to suggest that we adjust our handlebar to where we want it so that the display is visible by the rider, and you can certainly adjust this later as well, and so that your stem and handlebar are ergonomically correct for your body type and preference. Once we have our cockpit relatively adjusted and installed, we're going to move on to the front fender and the front wheel. Your front fender installs to the brake arch on the fork right here and to the lower of the fork here with the fender holder. You'll need a 5mm Allen for the front of this bolt, as well as your 10mm combination wrench. If you have a ratcheting set, all the better for you. That makes this a little quicker. Be mindful of the washers. Don't lose those. The tab for the fender goes onto the back of the fork, and we're going to put the bolt through it, and then on the back of that, bolt the washer and the nut. Like most things on a bike, I like to start them by hand just to make sure that I'm not stripping anything out. And then go ahead and tighten that in place. You'll note the fender mount is slotted so that it can be adjusted further away from the tire for mud clearance or for a different tire. Some tires have a little bit higher volume. So if you ever need to adjust that or you get some fender rub, that's where you'd adjust it. Next, with our 4mm Allen, we're just going to loosen the 2 bolts on the fork lower here for our fender wire. Put those 4mm bolts through the hole on the fender wire. This is another one that's important to start by hand so you don't strip out the lowers of your fork. Fork lowers are made of lightweight magnesium alloy, and they can be stripped relatively easily. Again, we're being careful not to over tighten these bolts so we don't strip out the lower on the fork. Moderately tight with the short wrench. At this point, we're going to put on the front wheel. If you have a friend to help, you can do it with the bike like this. Unthread the axle, put the front wheel in, taking out the shipping plug for the brake pads. But if you're alone, I like to do it by flipping the bike upside down. I'll show you that now. There's nothing really that will break on the handlebar here as long as you're gentle. I like to rock the bike back, pulling the rear brake if you need to, and then gently lowering the bike to the floor. And this way gravity will help us to put our fork into, our front wheel into the dropouts. This axle unthreads to the left. And like a few of our other new bikes, there is a nut that's slotted that fits on the other side of the fork. It's important to keep a finger on that when you're installing the wheel and tightening it. The front wheel is going to go in with the rotor on the same side as the brake. Remember to pull out that brake pad spacer. And I'm just going to watch closely and make sure that the disc rotor slides in between the brake pads. Slide my axle through, holding my finger on the nut on the other side, and I'm just going to thread this in place with my 6mm wrench. Turn your wrench the long way to get a little extra torque, being careful not to over tighten it. Now I'm going to flip the bike upright. And you can use the rear brake to slow it down as it comes back. Now you can put the kickstand down, make final adjustments in your cockpit with it upright with the kickstand down. And next we're going to install the derailleur protector and the pedal. The derailleur protector mounts to the back of the bike to protect the shifting derailleur from rocks, debris, or in case the bike falls over, and make sure that your derailleur doesn't break. The derailleur protector is going to mount here at the back against these two bolts, removing the fender stay bolt and this bolt, which is only partially installed. Reinstall with the derailleur protector flush against the frame and the fender stay on the outside. Once our derailleur protector is installed, we're going to move on to installing our pedals and our AirTag or M-Tag compatible bell. The pedals are right and left specific, and they are right and left from the rider's perspective. So the right going on the rider's right, the left going on the rider's left. The right pedal threads in righty-tighty. Again, I start these by hand to make sure I don't strip out the crank, and then only tighten them at the end with the wrench. The left pedal is reverse threaded, which will be from the perspective over here of lefty-tighty. And once you know you have it threaded relatively easily by hand, not cross-threaded, you can snug it up real tight with the wrench. That's your 15mm combination wrench. Your keys for the bike are not needed to operate it, but are only there to remove the battery, to make the bike lighter when putting it on a bike rack or transporting it, also to bring your battery in the house in the cold winter or the hot summer. If you flip the bike around, you can see the lock core is here. Your key goes in, you turn, and then there's also a button on top of the battery to get the battery to release. You can charge the battery on the bike through this port or off the bike. And you can also see a charge indicator here, which will show you how much life your battery has. The battery also has a handy carrying handle. To reinstall the battery, you're going to start at the bottom with the discharge pins and just push until it clicks. I'd separate these keys for future use. Make sure when you're riding the bike that the charging port is closed to keep water and debris from getting into the charge port of the battery. Your Magnum charger plugs into a regular outlet, and the light will turn green when the charger is plugged in or the battery is fully charged. It will turn red when it is charging the battery, and if the battery is really low, it may blink red while it's trickle charging. A really nice AirTag or M-Tag compatible bell is included with your Bliss bike, which has a really clear, crisp sound from the brass bell. This is installed on either side with just a Phillips screwdriver. And to access the AirTag or M-Tag compartment, twist the base the bell is mounted to, and inside you'll find a spot for your AirTag so that you'll know where your bike is at all times. I like to put mine on the left because on the Bliss, the throttle is on the left, so my thumb already has some business to do. At this point, take note of where everything is in your cockpit because all the controls can be adjusted. You can loosen the Allen bolts on the brakes, the controls for the display, the throttle, the shifter, and rotate them to fit your hands and your preferences. At this point, we're going to turn on the bike by pressing this lower edge button below the down arrow. Make sure the bike turns on. It does. The tires are aired up. The recommended air pressure is on the sidewall of these tires. Fat tires, they recommend relatively low pressure. I believe these are 35 max PSI. These certainly feel like they have ample air pressure to ride. At this point, I'm going to go test ride my new Bliss. If at any point you have trouble with the assembly or you're missing any parts or accessories with your bike, go ahead and call Magnum Product Support, customer support at 323-375-2666. We're located in Salt Lake City, Utah, so we're on Mountain Standard Time. But that said, during those business hours, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., we answer the phone and there's a human there to help you out with anything you need. You can always email us too at info@magnumbikes.com, or find a complete owner's and assembly manual on our website for this model and all our models, magnumbikes.com.